yeah, I think this is what, my third Sony Marvel Spider-Man list movie in a row, and even I have to pretty much put a break on the whole figure forms and that. Anyway, that being said, hey everybody, what's up? This is Retrokid Reviews. Wishing I had time to celebrate the end of another Sony Spider-Man list movie. Go to my Venom review as well. And kind of ironically timed with the shirt, because yesterday I sat, so actually 2 days ago as I was recording, I sat through Kraven the Hunter. And what's there to say about Aaron Taylor Johnson that I haven't really talked really nice about with that upcoming years review cartoon in my previous video? Aside, yeah, that movie's gonna be good. This, however, yeah, not so much. So yeah, starting off the top, it is probably the first and hopefully last Sony Marvel Spider-Man villain origin movie to have an R, because this will be the last Spider-Man movie with a villain-focused origin movie. So yeah, how do I put this nicely? Yes, the movie looks cooked on previews. Just I think Thursday or going into Thursday, when I saw it, it only had a 2 mil opening. It's projected to probably get 20 mil. Again, normally I don't talk box office too much because I'm not Damerl or those chuds online that think that's like king of like actual storytelling, as far as metrics go. But unfortunately, in this movie's case, it might probably needs that 20 plus mil to at least get the budget back. Speaking of that said budget, let's talk about the movie. Starting off the top, yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson does make a good case that he could have been a good Spider-Man villain. Whole Tom Holland in a movie and a half ago, post Far From Home, going into No Way Home. But it's still Sony, so you still gonna get Sony being, we can really do the thing, but we're gonna do half of it and then not explain at the same time. Which is ironic because Madam Web did explain a lot of her powers. And keep in mind, I'm saying something nice about Madam Web. Go to my previous review if you really want to see how I feel about that. Or my comparison video with Morbius. It's been that kind of a year for Sony lately, in case you could tell. So yeah, the movie is basically John Wick light, essentially. Despite having an R, it doesn't really go all in with most of the kills, which is understandable because this is supposed to, I don't know if it was trying to have a PG-13 rating before they got the R. I don't really know. I don't know if it's like a Die Hard 3 situation. And speaking of, will I finally do the first movie as my Christmas review? Yes, I actually need something for my mental health going into 2025, and that might be it next week. So, TBD to now, and I'll probably put in the community notes if anything else. Or I can get a coworker and his thoughts on the Sonic series. So again, poll there, just to let you guys know on the Tumblr side of things. But content aside, the movie is, I hate to bring up Jeremy Jahns here, it's kind of forgettable. Like, there's people who were here for paycheck acting, second time here on the channel talking about Russell Crowe. Go to my Pope's Exorcist review, I think last Halloween. Yeah, it's that kind of weird year when that gets an update. Will I ever finally do, I guess a cable-centric, Gladiator reviews when that finally gets to digital? In a word, I don't know, maybe. I'm still trying to figure out Cable's voice with the new Yellow and Blues, for Dad Figure, so again, go to my previous review as that as well. So for the rest of the plot, it's, how do I say this nicely? It fell into a very specific Avi Arad trap. He co-produced this, in case you can tell from most of these Sony Spider-Man list movies. That's what I'm really calling them at this point. I don't want to call this like Sony Universe or Spider-Man villains. It's weird. It makes no sense. I call it Spider-Man list because it's been rolling off the tongue ever since I got out of the theater. So the recency bias with that kind of terminology might change come the end of the year reviews. Hopefully next month. Yeah, I gotta start writing the list as I speak. And this is. Ironically, this Venom and Madam Web would have been, in my predictions earlier this year, be the race to the bottom of what would be number one. Until Joker Folio Do showed up and pretty much threw a wrench into the whole thing. So that's going to be interesting for the top 5 in the next couple of weeks. As for just generalizing the plot, essentially, Kraven just learns his powers. You have teen actors doubling for them for the flashbacks. Understandable. At least it's not de-aging, so I'll give Sony that on the budget-wise. As for the cast, Frederick Heindricker, if I got his name right, as Dmitry Kravinoff. The reason why I'm talking about that particular character, because 2 things happened. I wish I had my Chasm figure here, because him and Alessandro Nova, aka Alexei Skrivich, otherwise known as Rhino, yeah, he was known in the trailers, but ironically, it was the most CG heavy, and again, the CG on him just made me feel like, okay, are we back on a PG-13 budget? Oh, no, 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 there's some blood. Okay, there's some R in there. It's like, it's not a bloodless R. It's like a bloodless R that just realized it's got an R kind of thing. I don't know. It's kind of weird like that. As for the both of those characters, they kind of have one character in common that has something to do with Scarlet Spider. I've been pitching this behind the scenes through, I think, Austin Trench's Discords for about all of the Spider-Man-less movies. Just do Scarlet Spider, which is weird to say because, yeah, Andy Samberg showed up as a bit in Across the Spider-Verse. Go to my review of that. That's, I think that could be last cards. For real reviews, a lot of people showed up to dunk on this. People I didn't think I expect to see. I think, oh, yeah, before I get to those guys. Miles freaking Warren gets a name drop, but no character or no nothing. Like, I would have seen him show up with, like, a flash. If this was Madam Web, they would have done a flashback with crappy ADR. That came into effect here, too. But in, Dimitri's case, there's a reason to it. I'll hold it at the end for the plot. So yeah, let me, before we get back to that, let's get back to the people who's already reviewing this. Kind of funny, I knew it was already going to put that in review cards, if that's last cards. Did not expect Lanny Prator of, Team 4-Star fame, his Vegeta of all people, to basically cosplay a really damn good his version of Aaron Johnson's, Kraven. So go to the I guess go to the description down below for those videos of him doing the press tour for that. What else? Oh yeah, and 100% he just did a ride along talking about that instead of the food they went to. So it's a bit of a weird week that everyone's getting jumping the gun on basically overthinking and I guess undervaluing Kraven. I'm doing the same thing too because it is actually still a shit movie. I'm sorry to say, it really fucking is. Also, a lot of shits and fucks because this is an R-rated movie, so my apologies. I'm gonna pretend that it's in that R wheelhouse. So yeah, overall thoughts, for the characters. Yeah, for Dimitri, like I said earlier, he's supposed to be, I'm not even kidding here, sorry if this is a huge spoiler, we saw that side quest in, Spider-Man 2, last year, Chameleon. Like, I don't know how, but, like, again, this is the trap I was mentioning earlier. Like, Avi put all one too many villains in one standalone movie. This was not going to get a sequel. Everybody knew it, but my best guess, he put Chameleon in, Foreigner in, right away, the Miles Warren mention, to basically, like, tease, I guess, a Clone Saga? I doubt immensely, because you still need a Spider-Man to do a Clone Saga with. I mean, I that was always the pitch for, like, I want to say Amazing Spider-Man 3 or whatever was going to be Andrew Garfield sequels. One of them was going to be a Clone Saga to bring Gwen back. Again, look into the coffers, look into the wikis on that. But I think that was one of the rumor mill for the longest time to get even Dennis Leary back. That if that was the case, that would have been a really proto version of Dead No More storyline. The how they got Ben back in the comics. Long story short, yeah, that's kind of weird, to put it bluntly, and very confusing to the point that as of getting up and starting to record this, I kind of just gave up on the whole getting the Skull Spires into this, or what's left of them with Chasm, mainly because I gotta rummage around and find Chasm. Long story short, I think I got an idea where my collection is getting stuffy, in case you could tell on cam, so I'm gonna try to do some spring cleaning in 2025, so wish me luck on that one, guys. So, yeah, judgment time and final rating for this movie, yeah, 5 out of 10. I'm sorry. Like, it's fine. It's at least highly better than, Madam Web was earlier this year. The action's fine. The problem is, and it'll be the same thing, I think, also when we're talking about this, Madam Web and Morbius, is that it's way too CG heavy, which is understandable. But it also has an R, so there could have been some practicality to mix along with it. There was at times, I think the first 8 minutes you guys probably saw online 2 weeks before this movie dropped, was probably its best scene. It got you a good idea what you're getting into as far as this movie goes. Also, that placeholder title card sequence you probably saw in that clip is the exact same you saw in theaters. So yeah, Sony kind of dropped it, and it's understandable they've been dropping these lately because they kind of want to move on. They want to get on to getting Tom back to do something for the 4th movie, as far as getting a director from Shang-Chi and everything. Like, the rumor mill for that is looking a lot better than the rumor mill that whatever was this in Kraven. Also, since I'm here before the end credits, I totally forgot to mention the rest of the cast. Russell Crowe doesn't get the flashback death for their dad. He gets a bookend death. Long story short there. Sorry for the spoilers. And for Ariana DeBose's Calypso, she is actually regular in the comics. I think New Rockstars talked about it a little bit better. Again, if I still have last card's right there. And yeah, for an R rating, I honestly thought they would have had a sex scene or something. Again, guy coded. Long story short, sorry for my cis whiteness and all that stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, you need something to at least get the old guys here. I don't know. It was a mess. Long story. And talking about that said mess, going into another mess. End of the year content, probably in the next couple of weeks. Go to the end cards here for that, and go to my other end cards here for my hopefully next week's double review catch up for Critical episodes 1 and 16. And 117 for campaign 3 because I forgot to do a short this week. So both of those are going to get bookended as a full review because I want to have my overall final thoughts on how the end game's going to go down. Given what happened this week in 117, I got a lot to say there. Wished I had this shirt for the Venom review here. To sub the channel, hit the notification bell down below. And until next time, I'm Retrokid saying, thank fucking God the Sony fucking Spider-Man list, spum movies, whatever Avi wants to call them is finally done. There's no way you're not making another one, Avi, right? Right? You're not making another one. I'm not making this up, right?